In this part, we're going to be modeling the D pillar. So just as usual, we're going to bring back the guide meshes. And I'm going to take the guide mesh for that D pillar. And I'm going to press Shift and D to duplicate. Now we're going to move that into the vehicles collection here. Now we're going to disable the guide meshes. Let's go into edit mode and delete all the unnecessary vertices. So I'm just going to delete all the ones we have on the left side here. And then let's go down here. This ends right about here. So I'm going to take this and delete everything else below that as well. Alright, so this is what we have so far. Now the next thing we're going to do is to start defining the edges we have around the C pillar. But first, what I want to do is, let's get over here. And then let's take the rear fender piece we have here. And I'm going to take, let me get out of camera view and into full screen. Now let me get right into this area here. And I'm going to take everything from here to about here. And I'm going to press Shift and D to duplicate and press P to separate the selection. So we're just going to do the same thing as we did with the doors and every other panel we have in here to define that corner over here. So let me take all the vertices, press G and then X. I'm going to extrude this in the X-axis all the way inside. Now let's delete the subdivision surface and the shrink wrap modifier so they do not affect that shape. So I'm going to take the whole thing, press Shift and N to recalculate the normals, not that it matters. Now let's take this and let's add in a boolean. So boolean modifier, I'm going to select the target or the object to be the piece we just created. And that should cut it out nicely for us. I'm just going to apply that boolean modifier. Now we can go ahead and delete this or move it to the backup folder. And then let's clean this one up a bit more. So I'm going to take this and merge it to the last one here. And I'm going to take this and merge it to this. And then finally I'll take this and merge it to the last one here. Let's see what we can do over here. I think we need one more in this area. We'll find a way to add it. Let me just take these and then merge it to the last one here. And just to make sure we don't have any double vertices, I'm going to take everything. I'm going to press M and then say by distance. Let's bring back the rear fender and see what that looks like. Alright, not bad. That's a good start. But we need that extra bit of space between that piece and the rear fender. So I'm just going to press Ctrl and R through here. But before we do that, we need to take care of this piece here. So let me just press Ctrl and R in here for now and move it to about here. That should go to about here. So I'm just going to press Ctrl and R in here. Let's add one more in here. First of all, let me hide this. Well, let me hide this one. I'm going to press Ctrl and R in here. I'm going to add the first one in here and then add another one in here. Let's press Alt and H. Take these two, hit J, and take these two and then hit J. So let me just take all of this and dissolve the edges, and we're good for now. Now let's make our way back down here. Take these two, hit J to join them. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here, press E, and then F to align with the one below. I want to keep it right around here. Now let me just take this. First of all, let me slide this up to about here, slide it down, and then slightly up to about there. And I think the space should be about even. Something like that. Let me do the same thing here. So this is what we should have. And I think we can go ahead and then kill the vertices we have below now. You know what? I think I'm going to merge this one to this one right here. I think I'm going to go with way much less vertices as possible. And over here as well, I think I'm going to dissolve this edges. Let's just dissolve it for now. And let me get here and delete these vertices we have on the left side. Now let's see what that looks like. Alright, let's get back into camera view and see how we can define this. So I'm going to take this, press G twice, and then C. We're basically going to align each and every single vertex onto that edge line we have over there. Alright, very nice. Once we're done with this area, this is what it should look like. When you take a look at the top here, you can see it's not exactly following the cut line here. That is absolutely fine. Just follow what I did and you should be fine. Now let's make our way here and let's see if we need to align anything on this line we have over here. I think everything is already looking good. So what I'm going to do is let me just take this and merge it to the last one here. And I'm going to dissolve the edges we have on the inside like so. I'm going to take everything else and let's slide it inside a bit onto the edge line like that. I'm going to do the same thing here, just slide it inside a bit. And let's take everything we have in here and delete the vertices. Let's take this and then align it onto the edges we have up here. Alright, very nice. Now let's take care of this area as well. For that, I think I'm just going to use the knife tool. So I'm just going to start right off of here. I'm going to knife it to this area right here. I'm going to knife it to the next one right here. Now knife it all the way through to the other side like so. I'm just going to hit spacebar to confirm and then take everything else and delete it. Let me try that one more time. So I'm going to knife it again from here. Now let's just take this piece here and then let's just slide it to the left side a little bit to about somewhere around here. Let's take this vertex and let's slide it in a little bit like so. Let me get to the top view and see how that looks. So I think something around here should be good. Let me get into camera view, see how that looks. Alright, not bad. Let me slide this in a bit more to around there. Let's get to the top view, see what that looks like. I'm going to slide this in a little bit more. And I think that should be good. Let me take this vertex here and slide this in to around here. And take this, slide this in a bit. Slide this out a bit. And let's slide this in a bit. Alright, let's get back into camera view. Let me slide this in a little bit more. Slide this in. Now let's press Ctrl and R and add in that extra loop cut here. And move it to around somewhere here. Let me move it back a bit more. So somewhere around here should be good. A little bit inside. Now I want to take the whole thing and delete the faces. Now let's make our way to this side. If you take a look at the reference image, you can see we have some cut lines going on in here as well. So let's start things off by aligning this edge loop we have over here onto the cut line, the horizontal cut line. So I'm going to press G twice and then slide this to around there. And let me get to the top view and see what we have. Now I'm mostly not going to be following the cut line we have over here because I think this cut line is supposed to be straight. And right now this line is straight, but it's not following the edge we have over here. So the best thing we can do is to take this whole vertex we have here from here to around here. I'm going to press S and then X and then type in 0. And you can see that makes it very straight, but it doesn't follow the cut line. What you want to do is to make sure it is straight. If we should try to align with the cut line, you'll notice from the top view that it will not be straight. And realistically on the car, it's not slanted, it's straight. So we're going to undo that and keep it straight. And instead of following this cut line we have over here, we're going to keep things straight. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's get out of full screen and work with this image we have here at the bottom. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to press G twice and then slide it to around there. Now let's keep it there, maybe a little bit to the left. Now let me take this one as well and then slide it to around there. Now I'm going to take this one as well. I'm going to align it. We're just going to take these ones and then align it in the y-axis onto the line we have above like so. Let me get into full screen and into top view. We also have to make sure that one is also a straight line. So I'm going to take all of these, make sure this is the active element. And obviously your pivoting point has to be set to active element. I'm going to press S and then Y and type in 0 to make it straight. Now I'm going to take this piece over here and do the same thing when I line it with the edge we have in here. So I'm going to press G twice and move this to about here. press S and then Y and type in 0 to make it straight. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Type in 0 to make it straight. Alright, very nice. Now I'll have to make sure the bottom here is also just about the same. Now instead of using this edge, I'm going to add in a new one. So I'm going to press Ctrl and R3 here and press E to align with the one above, and then move it about the same distance as the one that is directly above that. So somewhere around here should be good. Now I don't think it should be causing any problems here, so we're good. Alright, let me get into camera view and see what we have. Alright, so now we're ready to make the cutouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything we have over here. I'm going to press I to insert a face in here. I want to press Ctrl B to disable the boundary. Then insert just a bit of space to about somewhere around here. Let's get out of camera view so we can see the space much better. Should be about the same as this. I'm going to try that again. So I to insert. I want to insert it to around somewhere here. I think should be good. Let me take this edge loop here. Let me move it down a bit. And I'm going to add one more in the middle here. Now let's take it from here to there and then to there. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're going to take it from here to there. Now let's press X and delete the faces. Now let's define the corners a bit more. So let me get into camera view. Now let me go into edit mode. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here and through here. And let's take both of them and press G twice and slide it to the left side like so. Let me get to the top view here. Let me take this, slide this in a bit more. I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's slide it up and move it to about here. Take this, slide this in a bit. Let's make sure this is causing no issues here. So I'm just going to dissolve it around somewhere here for now. And I'm going to round it off a bit more. So let's take the whole thing, press G twice, and move it to the left side a bit. And I'm going to do the same thing with this, press G twice. Move this to about here. Alright, I think that's not bad. Let's check it out in camera view. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to press G twice and move this down. Do the same thing here. Move this down to about there. And I think that should be good. Let's add extra ones behind those ones. So I'm going to put one right here. Put another one right there. Put one in here. And put another one in here like so. Alright. Very nice. Now let's take a look at this side. I'm going to press Ctrl and R3 here to add in an extra loop cut in here. Let's get to the top view. Make sure the gap is the same as the ones we've already created. Let me add these loop cuts in here. You know, let's take this piece here and then let's press I to insert into it. So we're going to insert something around like so for now. Now let's make our way down here. We want this continuing all the way down, not to the right side. So let me get in here, use the knife tool, and then knife this from here to the bottom like that. I'm going to merge this to the last one here. Let me fix this side as well. So I'm going to use the knife tool, knife it from here to here. Merge this to the last one here. Let's take all of this and then dissolve this. And then let's take all of this. First of all, let me merge this to this. And then let's dissolve the rest of the edges we have here. I'm going to add in a second one, but instead of using the method we just did, I'm going to do this by hand. So I'm going to press Ctrl and R in here. I'm going to move it to about there, so about the same distance. I'm going to do the same thing here, like so. And I'm just going to take these, slide it all the way up, take these, slide it all the way up, and take the whole thing, press M, and then merge by distance. And that should get rid of 4 vertices down here. Let's add the same things down here. So I'm just going to add one more around here. Now let me take this and slide this one in a bit. Now let's take all of these and delete the faces. Now let's add in supporting loop cuts in here as well. So I'm going to add one in here. And add one down here as well. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here. I want to add in the first one to around somewhere here. Let me put it around here. And I'm going to add in another one in here as well. I'm going to put it right around there. Now let's take these 3 and merge it at last. And I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to dissolve the edges. Let's get here, take all of that, dissolve the edges. Let's make our way up here and do the same thing. So right around there, take these, merge it at last, dissolve these edges, and dissolve this one as well. Now, you know what? I think I'm going to dissolve the one above instead. All right, now we can go ahead and then adding an extra one in between those two, and that should be good. Let's go ahead and then adding edge loops or supporting edge loops to the rest of the edges we have in here. Let's see what we can do about this first. I'm going to merge this to this, and I'm going to merge this one to the one down here. Let's just dissolve the ones we have in the middle here. All right, now let's add in the supporting edge loops. So I'm going to add in the first one here, two around there, put one in the middle, do the same thing down here, put one in the middle, up here as well, put one in the middle. We're just going to do this for the one we have over here as well. I'm going to define this curve here a bit more. So I'm just going to slide this down and then slide it up a bit, and then slide this to the left and then slide it to the right a bit. So something like so. Now I'm going to take this and move it to this side a bit as well. Move it in the X. Now let's go ahead and then adding the shrink wrap modifier. So shrink wrap. And let's drop this down to a 2 on the subdivision level, and then set the guide mesh to be the roof guide mesh. Now let's see what that looks like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate and apply one of the guide meshes. But before we do that, let's take a look at this area. And I'm going to add one more loop cut in here, just so if we go ahead and then apply the shrink wrap modifier and then adding a solidifier modifier, we won't have any issues. And I'm going to add one more in here as well. Alright, now let's go ahead and then apply the shrink wrap modifier. Now the final thing we have to do, which you guys already know, is to add in the solidify modifier. So I'm going to add in a solidify modifier. Let's first of all apply the rotation and scale, and then set the first value to be 0.05. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to enable even thickness and only rim. I'm going to duplicate again, set that to half the value, so 0.025. Now the first thing we're going to do is to apply the first one. So Control A to apply. I'm going to have to clean this up. But first, let's take all those edges, all of these, including this, and the ones we have in here as well. I think that's all of them. Yep. And then let's remove them from the surface vertex group. Or first of all, let's add a new one, and then remove, Control and I, and then assign the other ones. Now let's load in that surface vertex group in the shrink wrap modifier here. And that should make it look much better. Now we can go ahead and then start cleaning up. So I'm going to take all of these and then hide it. Let's clean this one up first. Alright, so once the first one is done, we can go ahead and then apply the second solidify modifier. And then again, we have to clean them up. So let's start with the one we have on the left side here. Alright, so once you're done, just make sure you delete the faces in the middle here, and also make sure they're merging in the center by just pressing G and then left clicking. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and adding the extra loop cut in the middle of each of them, and then shrink it out to give us that nice look. So let's go into edit mode, press Ctrl and R, adding the extra loop cut between each and every single one. Now let's take all those loop cuts. I think we need one more here. Let's take all of those loop cuts. Now let's remove them from the surface vertex group or the group collection here. Then just remove them. We're just going to hit Alt and S and then shrink them out to about somewhere around here. I think it should be good. All right. Very nice. Okay, so the final thing we'll do is to just rename this and then call it the D pillar.